Hello everyone. Welcome to today's presentation on infectious disease outbreaks in Penang Port, Malaysia. As a major international maritime gateway, Penang Port handles a large volume of vessels, cargo, and passengers daily. While this facilitates global trade and connectivity, it also introduces significant public health risks, particularly the spread of infectious diseases. Ships operate in confined environments with close human interaction, making them highly vulnerable to rapid disease transmission. Therefore, effective disease outbreak management is essential to ensure maritime safety, protect public health, and maintain uninterrupted port operations. In the maritime context, an infectious disease outbreak refers to the sudden occurrence of contagious diseases on board a vessel that can spread among crew members or passengers and potentially extend to port communities. These diseases may include influenza, COVID-19, cholera, or other communicable illnesses classified under international health regulations. Such outbreaks are treated as high-risk public health emergencies because they threaten not only ship operations but also national border control and global health security. As a result, ports like Penang Port must implement strict regulatory, operational, and legal frameworks to manage such situations effectively. The responsibility for managing disease outbreaks begins with the shipowner and the master of the vessel, who hold ultimate legal responsibility for the safety and condition of the ship, including the health status of all individuals on board. However, in practical operations, this responsibility is delegated to a shipping agent, who acts as the official intermediary between the vessel and Malaysian authorities. The shipping agent is responsible for handling documentation, submitting health declarations, and reporting any suspected or confirmed disease cases. This role is critical because the agent ensures communication between the vessel and multiple regulatory bodies, allowing for a coordinated and timely response. Ships calling at Penang Port are engaged in a wide range of operational and service-related activities, which can be generally grouped into 10 core port activities such as cargo handling, passenger movement, bunkering, maintenance services, inspections, logistics support, and other maritime services essential for port operations. Among these activities, the fourth category, which is infectious disease outbreak management, previously referred to as breaking diseases, is identified as one of the most critical and sensitive operations. This is because it is directly related to public health emergencies, where the risk of disease transmission can escalate rapidly within confined ship environments and potentially spread to port workers, surrounding communities, and even across international borders. When an infectious disease outbreak occurs on board a vessel, it is classified as a high-priority public health emergency, requiring immediate and coordinated response from multiple authorities under a structured management system. At the local port level, the primary authorities involved are the Penang Port Commission (PPC), established under the Penang Port Commission Act 1955, which acts as the regulatory body responsible for overall governance and enforcement of port rules, and Penang Port SDN, BHD, PPSB, which functions as the port operator responsible for providing operational support, including quarantine facilities, sanitation control, and coordination of emergency logistics. PPSB also plays a key role in ensuring that port infrastructure is prepared for isolation procedures and that safety protocols are strictly followed during outbreak situations. The Penang Port Commission, PPC, functions primarily under the Penang Port Commission Act 1955. The Commission is responsible for the management and regulation of the Port of Penang. The key roles include port operations. 1. The PPC oversees the operation of the port, including wharfage, cargo handling, and the provision of port services. The Commission controls the foreshore areas and issues permits for cargo handling within port boundaries. 2. Licensing and regulation. The PPC also regulates activities within the port through a series of licenses and bylaws. This includes controlling pilotage, managing docking facilities, and setting tariffs related to port services. 3. Environmental and safety oversight. The Commission has the authority to manage environmental and safety concerns within port limits, ensuring that operational activities comply with national maritime regulations. As for the Malaysia Marine Department, MMD, it operates under the Merchant Shipping Ordinance, MSO, of 1952. The MMD's responsibilities in Penang Port are aligned with maritime safety and regulations, such as 1. Surveying and inspection. The MMD, through its appointed surveyors, oversees the certification of ships, ensuring they comply with safety standards. 2. Port security and control. The MMD plays a significant role in maintaining security at maritime borders, including regulating vessel navigation within port limits. The MMD, with the authority granted under the MSO, supervises maritime safety standards, while the PPC focuses more on operational management within the port itself. Provisions under Sections 101, 102, and 104 of the Merchant Shipping Ordinance 1952 further support maritime governance by ensuring onboard health standards and medical care arrangements, requiring seafarer medical fitness, and allowing inspection of shipboard health and welfare compliance. However, these provisions are limited to maritime labor safety and do not extend to port-level infectious disease control. Instead, quarantine and communicable disease control at Penang Port fall under the Prevention and Control of Infectious Diseases Act 1988, Act 342, enforced by port health officers under the Ministry of Health Malaysia in accordance with international health obligations. Their responsibilities include medical examinations of vessels arriving at the port, ensuring the health of passengers, crew, and goods on board, to identify any potential risks of disease transmission. If contamination is suspected, the port health officer is empowered to order disinfection, isolation, or quarantine of persons or goods to prevent the spread of infections. They can also direct infected individuals to be placed in a quarantine station for isolation or observation. Furthermore, under Section 18 of the Prevention and Control of Infectious Diseases Act 1988, an authorized officer may order contaminated premises to be disinfected, closed, or subjected to other measures necessary to prevent the outbreak or spread of infectious diseases. In addition, Section 31(2)(g) provides for the regulation of sanitary standards at ports and their surroundings to safeguard public health. The Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency, MMEA, established under Act 633, is primarily responsible for maintaining maritime safety, security, and law enforcement within Malaysia's maritime zones, including Penang Port. Under Section 6 of the Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency Act 2004, the functions of the agency include enforcing federal law, preventing crimes, carrying out maritime surveillance, and ensuring maritime safety and security. Its main responsibilities include preventing illegal activities such as smuggling, piracy, and illegal fishing, while ensuring compliance with maritime regulations. Although the MMEA does not conduct health inspections, it supports infectious disease management by assisting with quarantine enforcement, maritime surveillance, and coordination with health agencies and port authorities. Overall, the MMEA focuses on maritime security and enforcement while indirectly supporting public health protection during disease outbreaks. At the public health and border control level, several agencies work together to manage the outbreak. The Ministry of Health, MOH, leads medical and epidemiological responses, including health inspections, quarantine measures, contact tracing, and treatment of infected individuals. The Immigration Department of Malaysia, IDM, monitors crew movement and travel records, while the Royal Malaysian Customs Department, RMCD, regulates the movement of goods and prevents potential contamination through cargo. The Department of Environment, DOE, oversees environmental monitoring and pollution control, particularly within port waters. In addition, the Marine Police provides security support and assist in enforcing quarantine measures to ensure public safety during the outbreak. At Penang Port, the Immigration Department of Malaysia, IDM, plays an important role in controlling infectious disease risks under the Immigration Act 1959/63. Section 5 requires all persons entering or leaving Malaysia to pass through authorized immigration control posts, enabling authorities to monitor vessel arrivals and crew movements. Section 8(3)(b) classifies individuals suffering from contagious or infectious diseases as prohibited immigrants, while Section 9(1)(c) allows the cancellation of a permit if an individual's presence poses a risk to public health. In addition, Sections 17, 19, 20, and 24 regulate immigration anchorage, crew inspection, and restrictions on boarding or disembarking before immigration clearance. Section 39A further authorizes immigration officers to require medical examinations by government medical officers when necessary. Through these functions, the IDM supports border control and public health protection at Penang Port. At Penang Port, the Royal Malaysian Customs Department, RMCD, plays an important role in supporting infectious disease control under the Customs Act 1967. Sections 36 and 37 require vessels to report their arrival and obtain clearance before departure, enabling authorities to monitor vessel activities and potential health risks. Sections 47 and 109 empower customs officers to board and inspect vessels during suspected outbreak situations. In addition, Section 31 allows the government to restrict the import or export of certain goods during public health emergencies. Section 102A further requires the submission of passenger and crew information, enabling RMCD to work closely with the Ministry of Health and other agencies in supporting quarantine measures and disease prevention efforts. Through these functions, RMCD contributes to border control, vessel inspection, and public health protection at Penang Port. The Department of Environment, DOE, plays a supporting role in managing infectious disease outbreaks at Penang Port under the Environmental Quality Act 1974. If an outbreak creates a risk of environmental contamination, such as the improper disposal of medical waste, wastewater, or hazardous materials from a vessel, the DOE may become involved in environmental monitoring and pollution control. Sections 27 and 29 prohibit the discharge of oil, wastes, and environmentally hazardous substances into Malaysian waters, while Section 38 empowers DOE officers to board and inspect vessels when investigating environmental pollution. Although the DOE is not directly responsible for disease control, it helps safeguard public health by preventing environmental contamination during outbreak situations. Under Perkara 5K of Arahan Nadma No. 1, pandemics, epidemics, and zoonotic diseases are classified as disaster events requiring coordinated management by multiple agencies. During an infectious disease outbreak at Penang Port, the Ministry of Health, MOH, acts as the lead technical agency responsible for disease surveillance, medical screening, quarantine, and outbreak control. At the national level, Perkara 6, Tanggungjawab Nadma, designates Nadma as the principal coordinating agency for disaster management and disaster risk reduction. The overall response is coordinated through Perkara 17, Mechanism Tindak Balas Bencana, which establishes command, communication, and interagency coordination during emergencies. Supporting agencies such as the IDM, RMCD, PPC, MMD, and MMEA assist in vessel inspections, crew and passenger control, enforcement, and port security operations. To strengthen preparedness, Perkara 13, Latiamal dan Simulasi Antara Agensi, and Perkara 15, Latihan, emphasize regular training programs and simulation exercises. In addition, the Incident Command System, ICS, enhances coordination, information sharing, and operational readiness. Through this integrated framework, Arahan Nadma No. 1 helps ensure that Penang Port remains prepared to respond effectively to infectious disease outbreaks and other public health emergencies. If a disease outbreak occurs on a vessel arriving at Penang Port from country A, where an infectious disease outbreak has recently been reported, the shipping agency immediately notifies the Penang Port Health Department. The Port Health Department, together with the Ministry of Health, MOH, assesses the vessel's health status and implements quarantine measures. The vessel is isolated, and crew members and passengers are not permitted to disembark until health screening is completed. Relevant agencies, including immigration, customs, and enforcement authorities, assist in controlling the situation. Medical examinations are conducted, and infected individuals may be quarantined if necessary. If there is a risk of environmental contamination, the Department of Environment, DOE, may also be involved. For major outbreaks, the MOH may coordinate with the International Maritime Organization, IMO, and notify the World Health Organization, WHO, in accordance with international maritime and public health obligations. Once the outbreak is contained and the vessel is declared safe, normal port operations may resume, subject to disinfection and ongoing health monitoring.
Thank you for watching.